Hey, we might have got it that time.
Hey, maybe.
I mean, what I mean that time, because this is the very first time we've done the podcast. Tom Holland can't wait till he's dead. Adam West is dead. How sad. E3, starting with EA. Let's jump into it. You want to talk about Battlefront 2? Because I do. Because you know what they did? Pretty good in the announcement. But you know what else they did? Microtransactions. But they're probably experience boosts, so who gives a fuck? What else did they announce, Tim?
I'm going to cut all that out. Just so
Why? That was good.
It was kind of incoherent.
Damn it, that would have been good for the podcast.
I mean, I might just leave it. Why not? But to
No, it's too
clarify...
late. You already ruined the joke by saying you were going to cut it out, so now it's...
Yeah, I'm probably going to cut it out. I'm probably going to cut it out, then I'll probably just leave it in. But yeah, Adam West died. That sucks. Tom Holland confirms there's going to be 3 solo Spider-Man films made by Marvel Studios, not by Sony. I mean, Sony's involved just because rights, but yeah, Spider-Man's going to stick around in the MCU, which is good, because for a while there it looked like he wasn't. We're just going to have him for one movie, and then it was going to go back to trash. But, yeah. Anyway, we're going to start talking about E3. We're going to go probably for the whole show talking about that stuff, and we're going to start with the conferences, do it chronologically. And first up was EA. So we're going to talk about that. We're talking about Battlefront 2 since that was mentioned. What happened was that Dallas was just running through the first attempt we made until everything decided it was broke. But, yeah. Not really any new details about Battlefront 2 other than the clone troopers are in there. For a while people thought they weren't going to be in there. So that's cool. Also, wrist rockets. Whole lots of wrist rockets. What, you just gonna nod your head like a doofus? Are we gonna have it back and forth?
Until we catch up to the stuff that I didn't already just run through.
Oh, okay.
Because this is the third time I've heard this.
Third time?
Counting the time I ran through it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we could just move on to Need for Speed.
Oh yeah, I watched that trailer. That looks fun to me.
I think it looks fun, but it's not a racing game.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know if I am, but I guess I'll see.
For games to change. I mean, we have Horizon. That's a racing game.
That's true. We also have Need for Speed, which is very much a racing game.
I mean, there's probably still races in it.
They better show some, because they haven't shown anything to do with races so far. They've shown customization, and they've shown action set pieces.
Well, the way I look at it is we've got a shit ton of racing games, but we don't have any action car games.
That's
Not
true.
Really.
Well, I got nothing against it, I guess.
I don't know why you're afraid of change.
I'm not afraid of change. I'm afraid of things sucking. And Need for Speed: The Run sucked, and it was an action game. It was very, very bad. So they've tried this before, and they failed miserably. So
you know what didn't suck? Need for Speed the movie.
Yeah, shockingly. Anyway,
actually, I didn't see it. I just assumed it sucked.
No, it was actually pretty good.
Nah, it sucked.
I mean, Aaron Paul, he was the main character, and he's a good actor. Anyway, back to the EA conference. They showed that I don't think it's split screen only, but they were just showing like just local stuff. What was it called? A Way Out?
It's co-op only.
Okay,
They've
co-op
confirmed.
only.
It is co-op only.
Okay, but it's
which is some bullshit because like, what if you don't have any friends and you don't want to play online with a bunch of douches?
Well, or don't your get friends the game. Are douches. Don't get the game.
I mean, what if you? That doesn't
go
make
buy Battlefront 2.
They're gonna hurt their own sales by leaving out a complete market of people. You're just like exiling.
Well, I feel like that's the kind of game that would be disastrous if you had to rely on an AI. So it's probably best just to not have it there. Also, I don't think they're worried about making sales. It's made by an indie studio that is just being funded by Xbox to have the game on their system. So I think they've already made their money. I think they already got their paycheck from Microsoft, so they're just going to be like, hey, we'll make a weird thing that is really, really specific.
Oh, that's so stupid on Microsoft's part then.
Well,
it's not the developer.
I don't think so, because it gives them a kind of weird, quirky indie game on their system where it's like...
Because that's what they need more of.
No, they do.
They have like a ton of indie games.
Well, they do. Compared to everyone else, especially this year, it shows like there's been a complete 180 on where the indies were. Like
a complete 360. Chia.
At the beginning of the generation, like the Wii U and the PS4 had all the indies, but now I don't think I saw a single indie game. I could be wrong, but the only indie games I saw announced at the whole, like, at any of the E3 conferences, it was all on Microsoft's stage. But that's the next conference. Rest of the EA stuff,
Sony announced Super Hot, the VR game.
not in the conference, though. I'm talking specifically about the conference.
In the conference, wasn't it? When they were showing the PSVR?
Oh, I guess I just checked out because it was VR.
That
might
may
be
not.
why I
I
missed
just
it.
assumed they did.
Anyway, back to the EA conference.
They didn't, I'll kill them all.
They showed Battlefront 1 DLC, which, kind of predictable. It's some Battlefield.
It's Russia,
Some Battlefield.
isn't it?
I think so, yeah. It's kind of weird that wasn't there to begin with, but
It's
I
called
guess
like Motherland or Fatherland. It's got to be Russia.
yeah. Nickel and diamond. Got to keep stuff out so you can add it later. Then they wasted a whole bunch of time talking about their cruddy sports games and how they're putting story modes into all of them, like FIFA, Madden, and NBA Live, which in my notes I called NBA Dead. They're all gonna have campaigns, which I guess adds something to do, something to buy the game for.
I'm not against. Yeah, I'm not against content.
Yeah, the good thing about that is that it gives you a starting point and an end point if you're someone who just wants to rent it. Because when I remember when I would rent sports games back when they were actually decent, I wouldn't really know, what do I want to do first? How am I going to experience this? And it's like, in 2 days I got to return this. But that'll be kind of a cool thing. Just have a campaign mode. And then they closed by showing BioWare's new game, Anthem. I don't think they showed gameplay yet, though. That wasn't until Microsoft's conference. But yeah, they showed Anthem. And
that looks sweet.
It looks like Destiny, if Destiny had fun mobility stuff, and if Destiny didn't look like garbage.
Destiny meets The Division
with jetpacks and an interesting setting.
It's Dark Void 2, baby.
Yeah.
It's back.
I'm not against that. As soon as I saw the jetpacks, I was like, up to that point, I was like, I like this art style. I kind of, I can get behind this. And then the jetpacks happened. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was sweet, especially when we were watching it in the car on the way back from Savannah.
Uh-huh.
And, you and I were. And,
yeah, we were at a wedding over the weekend.
Yeah, we got married.
Yeah.
And, the jetpack, he's going, through that tunnel, and then as soon as, he hit that water and, just kept swimming under.
Yeah.
And then, up and came beside him. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
So I'm saying...
we missed the whole storm and everything because of signal on our phones,
But yeah, I thought that was cool because it suddenly went from a Destiny clone to something that actually looked fun, in between doing, the raids and stuff like that. It's this might actually be a world that's fun to be in. Whereas, Destiny, all of the fun is doing raids.
When do we get to the ride? This is the ride!
Yeah. It's like that. Whereas, The Division, the fun part in that was the PvP. They didn't actually show any kind of PvP stuff for Anthem. It seems to lean much harder into, the class-based stuff, so it might not have,
yeah, I mean, it's
good, honest PvP, so... I don't know.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, too. I don't think BioWare's ever really done anything PvP either, so... Anyway, that was all of EA's conference. It was pretty short. Or no, it wasn't short. They just wasted a lot of time by being, unrelatable androids and blazers pretending to have human relationships. Have you seen the Mist High Five?
Yeah, that was in Donkey's video.
Excellent Mist High Five. Yes, EA. So, I think probably the best part of that conference was Battlefront 2, just because...
Oh, yeah, it looks great.
It had a big presence. You got to see... Yeah. And you got to see a bunch of gameplay, and it actually looks really good. And I like all the class-based stuff. It's Battlefront now. It's good.
Battlefront 2, the second sequel to Battlefront 2.
But yeah, I think EA, I'd probably give them about a 6 out of 10 for the conference, just because it was really, really cringy.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I actually didn't watch any of them, so...
Well, EA's conference gets a 6 out of 10. I don't think they really did anything wrong in terms of content, though, other
They
than
missed a half. Oh,
other than still bringing sports to E3, which is not the crowd for sports games.
I guess. Actually, sports games are getting like pretty good.
Well, NBA 2K
they're
is
pretty fun.
not NBA Live.
FIFA is like great. No, NBA Live sucks. Madden's pretty great. I finally played the latest one at Dalton's house. Still whooped his ass, but
Yeah.
surprisingly, he's like, I've been playing a lot, and then I just like whooped him like 72 to like 14. He was like, damn it.
The weird thing was there were only 2 new things for them to show. Like Anthem and A Way Out were the only things they showed that we didn't really know about. I don't really count Battlefront's DLC. And I don't count the world premiere of Madden 18 either.
Battlefield's DLC.
I mean Battlefront. Battlefront 1's DLC. No,
Battlefield.
Battlefield 1's DLC. I don't count that as like a new thing we're seeing.
Nah, not.
So they really just had like 2 surprises, and one of them was an indie game. So
There weren't like any big surprises at E3.
I mean,
there were a couple.
Yeah, there were right there at the end, and we're getting to that. So we'll just move on to Microsoft's now.
Wait, let's do Bethesda.
Do you want to do Bethesda before Microsoft? I was going to do them chronologically.
Oh, we can. It was just Bethesda sucks, so I just want to get it out of the way.
We'll get to it. Microsoft, by far, had the most content-rich one, which blows my mind.
44 games.
Yeah, I didn't include all those in my notes, because a lot of them were just little snippets.
Too bad. We're going through all of them.
We ain't, though. They showed...
Pancake Flipper Simulator. Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
With some waffle DLC.
So yeah, they showed the Xbone X, which I figured out it's an acronym, and the acronym spells out Xbox. The Xbox One X. I didn't realize that until like I like started thinking about it. And I was like, oh, those clever. What?
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, Xbox.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying that's a bad name. I think it's at least not incorrect. Like Xbox
You know what's the
One.
worst name?
Project Scorpio.
Project Scorpio.
I still like that name. I might still call it that. Who knows?
I like Xbox One X. I don't think anyone's going to refer to it as the One X. I think once I get the Xbox One X, even if you guys don't have a One X, I'm just
call
going
it
to
the
be
Xbox.
like, you guys want to play Xbone? Yeah, or I'm
Yeah.
getting on the bone. Getting on the bone.
Or you could call it the Bonks. Nah, we ain't going to do that.
I'm not good. I'm not going to do that. I might do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I can't remember what the first game they showed was, but they did show Assassin's Creed Origins. They were the first people to kind of
Minecraft.
premiere that. Oh yeah, Minecraft.
Minecraft in 4K. Can you believe your eyes?
And crossplay with everything but the PS4.
Wait, really?
Yeah, PC, mobile devices, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One, and VR devices all gonna have crossplay, but Sony, like the PS4, is not gonna be involved. And Microsoft said, "Hey, we asked them if they was cool with it. They said no." And
Those xenophobic bastards.
I saw an interview with Sony, and they were like, we just really want to protect that install base, which is typically younger children. And the interviewer was like, really? Because, like, Nintendo was okay with this. And they're like, yeah, well...
Nintendo doesn't care. Nintendo's not going to give 2 shits about their audience. They've already proved it like 1,000 times.
Not anymore, but... They used to be really, like... They used to care a lot about that stuff. That was why friend codes existed. Or, I mean... That was what they said, was the reasoning. I don't think it's ever about the children. I think it's always something else. I think it's about Sony's pride. They don't want anyone playing with Xbox players. Anyway, just BS reasoning.
I don't want to be playing with Xbox players.
But Assassin's Creed Origins got revealed. I guess I have to give them points for that being new, even though it had all already been leaked, more or less.
The only thing I saw leaked was the setting.
The name, the setting, the character, and like the cover all got leaked beforehand.
Oh, I didn't see any of that.
But yeah,
Origins is such a bad name.
Yeah, it is a terrible name, but
especially when everything else is called Origins.
Yeah. That being said, the game looks really good in my opinion, and that's coming from someone that hasn't enjoyed Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed 4. That being said, I really enjoyed 4.
I really like the setting, and character looks cool. and the RPG elements look like almost like they're ripped straight out of The Witcher. I mean, they're a little less.
They're a little less in
than
depth.
The Witcher.
I think it's a good thing that they're a little. They're not as deep. Like it's still more an action game than it is an RPG. So that's good. It had Breath of the Wild slow-mo bow and arrow though.
Oh, did it? I didn't see that.
Yeah, like that was straight out of Breath of the Wild.
I saw where he could like control the arrow.
Oh yeah, they had that too. But they had one part where he jumps out of a tree and it does like shot for shot recreation, Link pulling the bow in midair from Breath of the Wild. So, I mean, every open world game is the same one these days, but this one's in Egypt, which is actually really cool because I don't think I've played anything like that in Egypt. That's some untapped setting potential.
Children of the Nile, 2006 RTS. It's not even RTS. It was like a city builder.
Oh yeah, I played a game called Pharaoh that was also a city builder.
I don't believe you.
I mean, all right. It was a spin-off from another game that was, I think, called Caesar. But yeah, it's basically SimCity with a theme.
I've played the hell out of Caesar. Caesar's awesome.
Yeah.
Caesar 3 in particular.
Hopefully, since they took 2 years on this Assassin's Creed, it'll ship perfectly functional. And they...
Damn it.
What's up?
Children of the Nile came out in 2004. I was off by 2 years.
Ah, that figures. You were on a hot streak for so long.
That's still pretty close, though.
Yeah.
To have played it when I was a kid.
Also, I've never even heard of that.
It's pretty good. I got it at a book fair.
But yeah, Forza Motorsport 7 was the first thing they showed, actually. I forgot about that. That was the first thing where they were like, true, native 4K, 60 frames per second. Showing off the Xbox.
That was not bad.
I think I might go with that one. I think it might annoy people a little bit, so I'll probably stick with it.
Probably. What else did they show?
They showed Crackdown 3, which actually does look really good.
I do not give a shit about that game. I did not care about the first one. I didn't care about the second one.
Well,
the Terry Crews yelling at me is not going to make me care about the third one.
The second one was just the first one, like literally with a reskin. Hardly even a reskin. And in fact, it was basically just an Instagram filter. Like they made everything slightly more orange.
I don't know. There's something about that look and that type of game that I just don't enjoy.
I really liked the first one, and I really like destructible open worlds because I love Red Faction Guerrilla, and this is like gonna be my Red Faction Guerrilla fix because they said like, I don't think they brought it up at the conference, but in an interview they said, oh yeah, like that's still all in there. You can still destroy like literally everything, which I think that on its own can excite me. Also, I don't know what it is, Just Cause is like this too. But I like open world games where you can just like get some air and just glide over a city for a bit.
Yeah.
So it gives me that too. Saints Row 4 was basically a Crackdown game, and I love that game. And that's an exclusive. Forza Motorsport 7 is an exclusive. Forza Motorsport 7 pretty much looks like Forza Motorsport, but higher definition, better graphics. They did say that there's like
4K.
over 500 something cars in this one. Like, that's a big roster, especially when you compare that to 5's, which was like 40 cars. Forza Motorsport 5 is a mockery. But, yeah.
I have no strong opinions on either.
Let's see. They showed the Life is Strange prequel, which I don't know anything about Life is Strange.
It's pretty good. Played like the first hour. Still need to finish it.
I've heard that it's not for everyone, but the people who like it, like they all enjoy it
really
until the end. Apparently, the end is a bit divisive, but I don't know. That's from talking to like 3 different people who've played it. It was surprisingly
the main
popular.
Character is not gay.
Oh. Yeah.
Crush. I was gonna say the crush goes in for a kiss, and your character's just like, "Whoa, what are you doing? I'm not gay.
Hold up.
Who are you?" Anyway,
they showed the third Metro game, which actually looks incredible. Metro Exodus.
It's open world.
Yeah, and you think like
the other ones are not.
Yeah, like, you think when a game goes open world, it would, like, kind of look a little bit worse. And those games' remasters look really good because the PC versions always looked amazing. Like, they always push the PC hardware. This one still looks like a huge leap forward from Last Light, though I guess it's been a few years. Yeah, that game actually looks incredible. I need to finish Last Light. Really They showed that PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is going to be a console exclusive on the Xbox One.
Oh yeah, that looks fun. I like games where I can kill people and also kill my teammates who think I'm not going to kill them.
Yeah, you seem like the kind of person. You're a bit of a backstabber.
I am.
And every co-op game that lets you kill me, or at least like hurt me, like just shoot me to just be a douche.
Anything that will let me inconvenience you.
Yeah,
it's something I'm gonna do.
Here's something I was actually I didn't know of, like how I was gonna weight this, because Xbox has basically turned into like the Microsoft conference, because every Xbox game is also like a Windows exclusive. So if a game is on PC and then only on Xbox, it's almost like for them to have any exclusives in like the console war, you have to count that as an Xbox exclusive. Otherwise, they wouldn't have any exclusives.
Well, that makes sense because, I mean, Microsoft is so big into Windows. Or we could get Jan on here and have him explain what he thinks a Windows game is.
Oh, yeah. I can't even remember what he thought it was.
He thought it was like every Steam game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
And we were like, no, wait. Windows games are like different than Steam games.
Yeah, they are.
And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, you idiot. If that would be like the biggest announcement of all time.
Yeah.
If the Xbox One was getting every Steam game.
Okay, well, for the purposes of me like giving ratings on this, I'm just going to consider PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds as an Xbox exclusive versus the other console companies. So that'll be a point towards their conference. Cuphead finally has release date, which I really am excited for Cuphead because...
What is that?
It's the one that looks like an old like Mickey Mouse Disney cartoon. Like all the graphics like look totally hand drawn and like animated like an old like 1930s, 1940s.
I'm sure not Googling if that's what you thought I was doing. Okay,
well, that game looks really good. It also looks challenging and it has co-op. So like they got me in 3 places. They got
Holy
a co-op
shit.
challenging platformer, and it looks beautiful with a unique art style. So I've been excited for that since it was announced, like, I don't know, 30 years ago. It finally got a release date. I think it's actually coming out in 2017, which, thank God.
It almost looks like a horror game.
Yeah, it's got a creepiness to it. And,
that looks really cool.
It's very kind of... It's going a little past slapstick with the violence.
It's coming out in September.
Yes.
Finally. You remember? September 29th.
And that is an Xbox One exclusive. Also, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which I haven't played Ori and the Blind Forest, but apparently it is amazing and I need to play it.
Donkey really likes that game too. That was in the last one.
Yeah.
We'll get to Knack in my everlasting defense.
Yeah. Ori and the Will of the Wisp got shown. Apparently that is a really good platformer that I need to actually like sit down and play. I actually think I own it. I think I own it digitally. I just haven't played it yet.
Ori?
Yeah. The visuals are like incredible. It kind of reminded me of Trine in that way. Like Trine was always like a really pretty game.
I really like Trine.
Super Lucky's Tale, which is that kind of banjo style game that they showed. That's like it's going to come out the same day as the X, and
Nuts and bolts.
It looks kind of like just nice Conker. Like the character looks a lot like Conker, and like Xbox owns Conker, so it's almost like, well, I guess you guys just didn't want to make this M-rated, so you just came up with E-rated Conker.
What's it called? Lucky's Tale?
Super Lucky's Tale, yeah.
I gotta look it up. Sorry, I didn't do any research, but one of my friends just sent me this picture. We should put it on the screen.
You'll have to send it to me.
I just did in our Hangouts chat.
Okay.
We should use that. You need to look at it real quick. We should use that as the picture for the video.
I won't agree to that yet, but I might.
You definitely need to.
No, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm using that. I just saw it. Yeah, that's going up there.
Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, Super Lucky's Tale.
I'm just gonna type in Lucky's Tale. If it doesn't show up, I'm just not meant to know what it is.
But yeah, it's like gonna be like.
Oh yeah, that looks sweet.
It basically looks like if Yooka-Laylee wasn't trash. It's like finally a modern N64 style like collectathon platformer with a decent budget and decent talent behind it. So who knows? It might be terrible, but it looks better than Yooka-Laylee does.
I'm not really excited about the character.
Yeah, no, he looks like discount E-rated Conker.
Yeah, he's kind of just basic. I thought, especially the name Lucky, like.
Yeah.
It's probably great. I'm probably wrong.
No, I mean, the character design is kind of boring, but the game looks good.
Yeah, as long as the game's good. I mean.
Yeah.
I was just.
And that's an exclusive to Xbox.
But I don't remember what it was.
Speaking of games that are like Rare, they showed Sea of Thieves, and for the first time, I actually thought it looked good. Every time they've shown it beforehand, it's still kind of cringy the way they promote those games.
Oh god, yeah.
But it looks like, once again, it's another Destiny clone, but it actually like has an interesting world that I think I could have fun with. Also, the PvP ship battles actually like look really good. Yeah, and it'll have co-op, so that's always a positive. They showed State of Decay 2, and nobody cares. It's a token zombie game.
I've heard it's pretty good, actually.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good. The original one is supposedly pretty good, but I'm so burnt out on zombies that I just don't give a shit about anything.
I'm so burnt out on zombies in survival games, like survival open world type deals. I'm just over it, man. I was over it like 3 years ago. And Sony had a token zombie game too, so man, everyone loses.
I kind of liked it though because you kind of use the zombies as which I guess we can talk about that when we get there. But.
Well, I get to that. Sony's gonna get theirs. They showed that game that's called Deep Rock Galactic, which apparently is made by the Goat Simulator guys, and it's not purposefully bad.
Oh yeah, it
looks like space boring. Minecraft.
Yeah, it looks pretty boring. I watched it and I was like, I don't give a shit.
I'm not gonna be interested. Here's the main game where I was like, should I count this as an Xbox exclusive? And if we're going with that same criteria, then we are. Black Desert Online will be an Xbox console exclusive, and that's going to be awesome because I don't really care for MMOs, but I really care for like really cool character creation things, and I've been seeing stuff about that game ever since it like was in beta for the PC, and it's incredible all the customization you can do. Also, it actually looks like a good game. Like, the combat looks pretty good for an MMO.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually a big fan of MMOs, so I'm pretty excited for Black Desert.
Yeah.
Black Dessert. It's just a game about chocolate cake.
The whole thing is every time an MMO comes out, it seems like it dies because it isn't World of Warcraft. And I don't know what the formula is. I don't know if you're supposed to try to do something different, or if you're supposed to try and do World of Warcraft better than World of Warcraft, which I don't think is possible at this point.
It's not.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe this will work for them. Then they showed kind of 3... I don't know, I'm being told these are 3 high-profile indie games, with The Last Night, which is basically Blade Runner, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
The Artful Escape, which apparently everyone knew about this before me. I was only just now hearing about it. It looked really cool, in my opinion. It's another kind of stylish side-scroller.
I didn't see it.
And then there's Tacoma, which was made by the same guys that made...
Toyota Tacoma, where you drive the Ford Fusion.
Oh, yeah. Right. Good old inside jokes in podcasts.
Well, that wouldn't have been an inside joke if you just acted like it was a new joke.
But I laughed at it then.
We'll laugh at it again.
Okay. Yeah, Tacoma looks like a sci-fi puzzle type game, first person. I can't remember if it was made by the guys that did Serious Sam or the guys that did, what was it? There was that psychological sci-fi game that came out a while back. It was like Soma. I can't remember if it's made by the people that made Soma or the people that made Serious Sam, and boy, are those two different groups of people.
Oh, this game looks cool.
Yeah.
You told me Serious Sam.
That's what I thought. Who made it?
But this does not look like Serious Sam. This looks like...
Okay, well, the Serious Sam guys made the Talos project.
Oh, then it's probably
the Talos Principle. Yeah, they can do a wide range of stuff. They won't be bolted down. They won't be typecast. Let's see, what have I not talked about before I talk about my favorite part of the whole thing? We talked about Xbox One X is going to be $500, which is surprisingly reasonable.
Fair.
I thought it was going to be $600.
I've heard like a ton of people like criticizing that though.
I mean, it's still high. It's $100 more than the PS4 Pro, but the PS4 Pro was a very marginal upgrade, whereas this is a vast upgrade.
Yeah. Also,
the PS4 Pro hardly works with everything.
Also, the PS4 Pro is not going to have backwards compatibility.
Yeah. Backwards compatibility with all the Xbox One games, all the a lot of Xbox 360 games.
I was going to say, wait, what?
And then whatever original Xbox games they're going to be bringing. And that was a really cool announcement. Not my favorite announcement, but one of the coolest parts, because I liked how the one game they showed was Crimson Skies, which is the one game I thought no one but I cared about. So I felt very vindicated that was going to come. I loved Crimson Skies. Crimson Skies has that kind of sci-fi, fantasy, historical look that I'm a sucker for. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But
yeah,
my game of the show, which is not an exclusive, but it was like the best premiere, and it would have been my game of the show had Sony's and Nintendo's conferences not happened, but it was Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Oh, yeah.
Which I am super hyped for. Like, as soon as that happened, the whole fighting game community was like, Marvel vs. Capcom is BTFO, man. Like, we don't even care about that anymore. Like,
well, I mean, if they'd have a better roster, which, I mean, Dragon Fighter Z, what was it called?
Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Yeah, Dragon Ball FighterZ could have a very small cast as well.
Who knows?
Doubt it, considering most games put like 200 characters in each one.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even care if they only have like 12 characters in that game. The gameplay already looks like it's energetic. Like it woke up this morning. Marvel vs. Capcom, everything they've shown so far looks like a slightly slowed down Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I've been like looking forward to it because it's kind of it was the only thing there for a while. It was like as soon as Dragon Ball FighterZ was shown, it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, all of us were nervous about MVC. Yeah, okay, now we can all admit it and move on.
Yeah, it looks fucking awesome. It comes out this year too, doesn't it?
I'm surprised they kept it hidden for so long. That seems like something that would have leaked weeks before. It leaked the night before it was like actually announced, but then the trailer happened and it was like, oh, thank God the leak couldn't even do it justice, because in motion this game looks incredible. If you care about fighting games or Dragon Ball or just want to look at something really cool, like look up the Dragon Ball FighterZ trailer. It's amazing.
Yeah, we should link it.
Yeah, I'll do that. And like they showed some gameplay, like some actual matches and like some of the extra stuff, and it looks like a fully featured like tag fighting game. Like it doesn't look like it's going to be like, you know, the Tenkaichi games, which are made to be kind of easy to pick up and play. And just,
it looks like it's sorry, go ahead.
You're going to say it looks more like Budokai?
No, I was going to say, well, yes it does, but I was going to say it looks as far as cast and character, it looks like it's reaching all the way into
Super.
Yeah, because Gold Frieza.
Yeah, there's Gold Frieza. But yeah,
Frieza.
At this point in E3, like that was my game of the show. Like I was like, whoa. We saw the trailer, and I was actually like, I know it's a cliche, but actually breathtaking. It looked amazing.
Yeah. Tim and I are big fans of fighting games,
and I within the past year and a half became a big fan of Dragon Ball. So
I've always been a big fan of Dragon Ball. In this game, I'm probably going to kick Tim's ass because that's just what happens on most games that I just pick up randomly.
Yeah.
Unless it's Street Fighter.
Unless it's Street Fighter, then I get to win.
But any other game I just pick up, I'm just like starting to win.
Yeah.
I remember I did that with Killer Instinct, and you were just like, I just remember you looking at me over Tabitha and just being like, damn it.
I'm actually upset. Oh, yeah. But anyway, that was Microsoft's conference. Next.
Is Bert. Wait, are you going to rate it? Are you going to rate it?
Oh, right, yeah. I think considering how many exclusives they showed and how many
22.
exclusives I'm actually, like, interested in. Like, I'm interested in Black Desert. I'm interested in Crackdown 3. I'm interested in Cuphead. I really need to play the first Ori to see if I am actually interested in that one. But they showed it, and it looks good. I'm interested in Super Lucky's Tale. That's 5 so far that I actually really want to play. And now I at least want to try Sea of Thieves. So that's 6 exclusive games that I'm actually like, oh no, all right, yeah. Finally, something to play on the Xbox.
I felt like there was one more, but I can't remember what it is.
I mean, State of Decay 2 is technically an exclusive.
What is?
State of Decay 2.
Oh, there was something else, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. It was an indie game, but it was one that I was thinking like that's kind of cool.
Last Night?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is.
Oh no, I said The Last Night.
Oh no.
Okay.
Well, I mean that one too, but
that one's not an exclusive. Like, apparently, that one's also going to Steam.
Oh, okay. I feel like most 8-bit art games, so like 16-bit, I think that's like an overused style. At least in video games, you don't see it in a lot of other like forms of media.
Well,
I can't think of a movie or a show.
I think it's because it's an inherently video game related thing.
But I mean, like even in current, like it's like, oh, you got an indie game to make, use 8-bit.
Yeah.
But it is easy. I mean,
at least The Last Night's like lighting engine kind of makes it look unique.
Looks like Little Nightmares mixed with like a 8-bit game.
Yeah. Anyway,
Little Nightmares has the same lighting stuff.
Microsoft had the very limited cringe, and it showed a ton of games. Most of them looked good, and there were a whole lot of exclusives that I'm interested in. So I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10.
I'll take it.
It's a good conference. They didn't waste any time. Now we get to go on to the first absolute train wreck. Like, EA was just a little cringy, but Battlefront looked good. Bethesda was a disaster.
Oh yeah, Bethesda was awful. I don't even remember. I remember Skyrim.
Yeah.
On Nintendo.
Yep. Paid mods are coming to Fallout 4 and
They got rid
Skyrim.
of paid mods.
Yeah, because it didn't
brought
work.
them right back.
Yeah, they brought them right back. I don't know what they're doing differently. Like, it's...
I don't know.
They didn't say, hey, we fixed it now. They just said, and we're gonna do that again.
Maybe you guys forgot.
There was a Dishonored 2 expansion that they showed, which I'm sure that'll be good, but once again, it's just DLC. They showed Elderstone. Hearthstone.
Elder what?
They showed Hearthstone. It's just different. It's Hearthstone with a Skyrim skin.
Elder Scroll.
I don't remember the name.
What was that called?
I wrote down Elderstone Cards Unleashed.
Close enough. That's what I'll call it from now on.
It's getting like a Skyrim expansion, which every time a conference mentions Skyrim, I take down an entire point.
I can't believe that game is still being mentioned.
It's
a pretty good game. Like it's a wonderful game, but like I can't believe it's like the Avatar of. No, it's not even the Avatar of games because the Avatar was great at the time and then it's completely forgotten.
I don't know if there's really too much of a comparison with like movies and stuff. Just because if a movie gets remastered, it's whatever. Games, I think, have a very unique relationship with remakes just because of, you have to actually spend money on it and like ports and stuff like that and like adding features to old games. The closest comparison in the game industry that I have for Skyrim's like dominance and how many times it keeps getting like released is probably Resident Evil 4. But Resident Evil 4 was never put like front and center stage as often as Skyrim is. Like Resident Evil 4, it was like, and we'll put it on this system. You guys like that game, right? And it was, just like an easy port to another system. But Skyrim is like, hey, you guys remember Skyrim?
Yeah, and like all they did was like add for the Switch. I'm sure it runs at a shittier. It probably runs. It's probably a 360 port.
All of the footage because it's not the special edition. All the footage they've shown has looked really rough and like sub 30 frames per second, from what I can tell. And I'm just like, man, y'all could have at least pulled a Ubisoft in to lie about it looking good, because this just looks bad.
How old is it? Did it come out in 20...
Man, it's old as piss. I think I was a freshman. 2011, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2011, because it was 11/11/11. And then, like, it was the six ones in that date would spin to have the 6 letters in Skyrim. That was a very memorable trailer. I think Skyrim owes its entire legacy to that excellent trailer.
I thought it was 2013. Oh, no, that was the Legendary Edition, because it came out. Yeah. Damn.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was 11/11/11. I do remember that now.
There was a good thing. There were a couple good things. First good thing that happened at Bethesda was The Evil Within 2 had a really, really cool trailer.
Oh, and then they released a gameplay trailer right after, for some reason.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's just snippets of gameplay, but it looks really, really pretty.
Yeah.
It looks just as good as the first one, except it's not condensed into a 4x4 square.
I'm glad.
Actually, I got used to it, and so I'm probably going to get really... I tried to go back, because they released an update finally on the consoles that fixed it. I went and tried to go back and play it, because Harley has it, so I borrowed it. Mm-hmm. It's actually, I beat it the first time. And then... No, I bought it the first time. And then, so I took the block off, and it, like, messed me up real bad. I was like, I can't do this, so I had to put the block back on. But man, that game's hard.
Yeah. I don't know... I don't think Shinji Mikami really cares about any current horror trends. I think he's going to make the difficult action horror game he wants to make.
Well, Resident Evil 7 is difficult. It's not action.
Yeah, but he isn't involved in that.
No, but I'm saying the most of the horror games come out are difficult games now.
Yeah.
Alien Isolation's pretty difficult if you're not playing on easy.
That's true.
Outlast 2 was apparently a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, but that was apparently not on purpose. They like released a patch that fixed some of the like really like weird insta-death scenarios, but
I haven't even played that. I can't believe I haven't played that.
Yeah, you were pretty hyped for it.
Yeah, I really love the first one.
Apparently it's connected to the first one. I thought it was going to be like a totally different
I didn't know that.
Scenario, but yeah, apparently it's a very thin connection, but I think it's like to allude to them making a third game or whatever.
You got the same naked 2 dudes chasing you around. Those dongs look awfully familiar.
I'd recognize those 2 anywhere. Dangling around.
They haunt my nightmares.
But yeah, Evil Within 2, the trailer... it looked like a music video. Like, it was really trippy, awesome. But it looked like it had really high production value, and it looked really cool. Then they showed Quake Champions, which looked like Quake Champions. They showed that BJ is going to be playable in it, BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein.
Oh, yeah,
and he looks cool because he's got dual shotguns, and that game had awesome dual wielding, the newest Wolfenstein at least. Also, I think... Bethesda should really lean into doing that kind of thing, kind of crossing over their stuff. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't kind of embrace the fact that they've almost turned into a mascot company, which isn't a bad thing.
I guess they have.
Yeah. So
I really wish I was really hoping for a. Well, before we get off of BJ Black and Wits. Mm-hmm. Wolfenstein 2 was announced, the new Colossus.
Yep, and that was a really good trailer. It showed plenty of gameplay that showed new stuff, like interchangeable dual wielding. That looks awesome. It showed that it's... For the stuff they showed, it looks like it's taking place entirely in America, like during the Nazi 50s. Occupation. And
you know, the Nazi occupation that happened in America. Right. Everyone remembers. Yeah. Everyone remembers us losing World War II.
Yeah, I've seen the tapes.
I've seen Saving Private Ryan, where Tom Hanks is a Nazi.
But yeah, all the characters they showed, like, that looked really cool. I like how the first one, and I wasn't expecting it, the first one turns into this, like, ensemble, like, action romp. That was really cool. Like, you have, like, all of these different characters, and they have, like, interactions, and there's quips and stuff. But this one also looks like it's having a little bit more fun compared to the first one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's kind of more crazy, especially his yellow jacket. I was like, I don't get the jacket. I think like a greaser jacket would have been a lot better. But the collector's edition, which is $99, actually comes with a game this time.
That's uncommon. I don't understand
Wolfenstein, the first Wolfenstein
Yeah.
collectors, it did not come with a game.
Yeah, just like the Splatoon 2 collector's edition doesn't come with a game.
2.
Yeah, Injustice 2. Gosh.
This comes with two statues, or one or two statues.
That's crazy. It's crazy that's newsworthy, where they're like, Wolfenstein 2 collector's edition comes with Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah. But it comes with a old action figure, like an old G.I. Joe of VJ Blackus Mats.
Yep.
And
I think he's got a cool last name.
He does, but I just
because it sounds like Blast. It goes great with like a cheesy first-person shooter hero.
But it comes with a little like old 50s G.I. Joe of him, and he's got like the jacket, and then he's got like a ton of like interchangeable weapons. I'm not gonna open it. I'm gonna get it, but I'm not gonna open the action figure.
I ain't gonna play with it, but it sounds like it'd be real fun to play with.
If I did review toys, I would probably play with that one.
Yeah, they ended on that. They showed some VR stuff, which I don't care about VR, but I care about
Fallout.
Doom, and it
Fallout
almost
4 VR, and Doom VR.
Doom VR actually looked playable. It actually looked kind of cool because the teleportation movement system could kill. So it was like, okay, so this movement is going to be stilted and not as intuitive, but I'm like going to bother learning it.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I think it would definitely slow down the pace of like the game in comparison to
Actual Doom.
Well, see, I would rather see Doom single player DLC.
Yeah, me too.
Or even an announcement for Doom 2 over... Or I hope they don't call it Doom 2, but over...
I mean, they called it Wolfenstein 2. They're probably gonna.
Is it actually called Wolfenstein 2? Because I thought it was just called Wolfenstein the New Colossus.
It's called Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
Oh.
So,
was Wolfenstein 2 is never called Wolfenstein 2, though. It was called...
Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
And then there was Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah. So, technically, this is the second game.
This is the first one to be called Wolfenstein 2. Who knows?
So, yeah, they'll probably call it Doom 2. I think they should... Because they've got such, like, the hell... They could call it, like, Doom Revenant or Doom Exodus or Doom... I don't know. I think I'm still pissed off about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest name. They could have gone with so many
Huge
different...
waste of potential.
Reckoning, Revengeance...
Revenge.
Rising. Risers.
Red Dead Rising.
Red Dead Red. You could have gone with Red. I've been okay with it.
Would have been better than Redemption 2.
Red Dead Rojo. Put a little south of the border flair up in there.
Yeah. Have
Oh,
the first half of the game take place in Mexico.
I don't mean to jump.
You do.
Do you want to rate Bethesda real quick?
Yeah, I was going to say they showed VR for Skyrim, and then they showed the motion controls for the Switch version of Skyrim. And I'm like, wow, Skyrim's actually getting worse.
Yeah.
They're just adding more garbage to it. But yeah, to wrap up Bethesda, they showed 2 new games. Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2.
Oh, okay.
And then they basically puked a bunch of old stuff in our face and said, hey, we're going to do paid mods again because that worked so great the first time.
Oh, we need to talk about Bethesda Land.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was really cringe. It was this they did almost like a Nintendo Direct thing where there wasn't a stage. It was all like pre-recorded and they had these little transitions. And the transitions basically consisted of, y'all remember Skyrim? Y'all remember when we ruined Fallout? And they did it like between every single little thing. They said, yeah, y'all remember frickin' Skyrim? Like, it was like this weird like theme park thing they had going. What's up?
Just picturing it instead of freaking, just adding a bunch of F words. Just like, welcome to Bethesda Land. You remember Fallout fucking 4? Do you? Do you? You little ass.
You gonna remember it
fucking
today.
chain.
But yeah, it was this weird thing. Sony did this too, where they were just stopping between showing you actual things to praise themselves and say, weren't we so great last year? Wasn't last year just the best? Remember the past? I remember the past. Fair, way better than right now.
Yep, to be fair, that's what I do. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a good thing. I'll give Bethesda... See, I would have given Bethesda probably about a 4 out of 10, but the mentioning of Skyrim brings it to a 3 out of 10, and the mentioning of VR brings it to a 2 out of 10, so Bethesda gets a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked... I did like Wolfenstein 2 and Evil Within. I don't know. I'll give it a 4. Just 2 points for each of those is worth it to me.
Yeah. Wolfenstein 2 was my game of that conference because it was I'm interested in the game and it was a good trailer. It actually I think would convince people to go get it. All right, next is Ubisoft, which crazily enough, Ubisoft was not the worst conference at E3. It's actually one of the better ones, and one of the first things they showed was Mario vs. Minions, God is Dead edition.
Versus Minions. I accidentally actually called them Minions earlier.
Yeah,
and didn't realize
too.
That I hadn't called them Rabbids.
I mean,
it's so cringe. It looks like such a good game too, though.
I know. That's the bad thing. Is that XCOM is not my kind of game. Neither is as much as I tried to get back into Fire Emblem from when I was a kid. I just don't like those kinds of games anymore. But this one looks like a really good one. It actually looks tactical, and it looks well produced, and there's good production value. But it's just full of the most cringe moments of this stupid topical millennial humor where it's here's an idiot creature that takes selfies. So random, lol.
Yeah, and rabbits are just so when it was doing the Mario theme and dancing. I can't think of the Mario theme off the top of my head. Yeah. When it started doing that, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. I was like, maybe the rabbits aren't as bad as I remember. And then they were.
Yeah. And here's what I noticed. People are like, the gameplay looks good. And I'm like, yeah, the gameplay looks fine. And maybe maybe it could have been better than it is.
But it ain't.
And this crossover is bad because if you notice, the Mario characters have nothing to do. In all of the scenes, it's the rabbits doing something cringe, while the Mario characters, who in previous games have been able to have this, this little lighthearted, simple visual humor, they just stand there. They have to stand there and kind of look at what's going on. Almost they're why do we have to be here with all this?
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, that's what I would be doing. I would just be I created video games. I am the face everyone knows.
What is going on?
Someone called... Oh, God.
Pest Control.
I was going to say the guy who created Mario, but I can't think of his name. Shigeru
Miyamoto.
Yeah, Miyamoto. I was going to say Miyamoto, and I was like, nah, that's not right.
He was actually on stage. He's probably on there just man, everyone can just go die. I don't think so. I think he's probably actually genuinely happy about it because he seems just like a fun-loving guy. He seems like someone who's so pure and innocent, in his heart that he just doesn't mind stuff like that. Maybe outside of work, because there have been plenty of horror stories about how impossible to please he is, and how super draconian. So I'm just maybe after Iwata died, he realized, man, I'm getting older. I'm just gonna start being nicer and let things go from now on. So maybe that's what happened.
Mr. Miyamoto, can we put rabbits in your game? Yeah, sure. Are you serious?
Yeah, give me a hug.
give me a hug. You better not fuck this up. Hell Hydra.
But yeah, the worst
Miyamoto's and Hydra. Thanks, Nick Spencer.
The worst thing about Super Minion Brothers is that it actually looks good. That is the worst part. That part actually makes me sick. But Yeah. Other games they showed The Crew 2, which they did something smart where they're like, well, our driving sucked. You know what we should do? Add planes and boats. Then people won't be driving as much. People will drive our cars less. That'll automatically make the game better. Also, the visuals actually look really good in this one. Like, it looks...
It's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
So.
And it fits the theme of the original fine. Like, it doesn't feel shoehorned. It's like... Because in the original, you know, you could take a Porsche and turn it into, like, an off-roader and stuff. So, it all makes sense, and it feels like a natural progression of that kind of game. And it feels like something you couldn't have necessarily done in an expansion. So, you done good, Ubisoft. I didn't care for the first one, but this actually seems like a good sequel. They showed Far Cry 5 gameplay, and it actually looked really good. Like, the gunplay looked really tight and, like, furious. Like, also... planes, once again, Ubisoft just gonna add planes to everything. The planes look awesome. Like, he like calls in like a strafe run from one of his allies.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I actually didn't see the gameplay.
It looks really good. You should check it out.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna buy it anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. I think this might be the first Far Cry in a while that I'm excited for before it's coming out. Because for Far Cry 3, I was like, Then people were like, it's so good. And I'm like, oh, okay. Same thing happened with Far Cry 4. But this one, it's like, this looks awesome.
Primal was really good. And then someone stole it from me. And I'm going to bring it up in every podcast until I get it back.
You're just going to call that guy out in every podcast. Maybe someday
he'll
hear
listen.
it and he'll be like, oh, I accidentally stole that one. I better take that back. You just
That'll be the day he dies.
You get one sent in the mail and it's just like, sorry.
Sorry. Don't hurt me. Don't find me.
Then they showed Assassin's Creed 4 PvP.
Assassin's Creed 4?
Yeah, the ship battle game. I can't remember what it was called.
Skulls and Bones.
Yeah, Skulls and Bones.
Or
That's
Skull
a pretty
and
cool
Bones.
name.
Yeah, I'm okay with that because the Assassin's Creed 4 ship gameplay was fucking awesome, and that's probably exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was watching the GameStop stream of everything, and one of the guys' reactions to that, he was like, I remember playing Assassin's Creed 4 and just being like, I really like this ship gameplay. I wish it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game. He's like, and they straight up gave me what I wanted, and I didn't even tell them.
They wiretapped our houses.
Also, it was weird. Before they showed it, they were like, it comes from a familiar universe. So everyone thought, okay, this is going to be tied to the Assassin's universe somehow. But then it looked more and more like For Honor. Like, they had all the different factions that, like, never faced each other in actual history. And now they're, like, all converging in one location to do battle. So...
that's probably it.
And it didn't look like Assassin's Creed at all. So I was like, that was not a bait and switch, but it was like you took mechanics from Assassin's Creed and then like put it in the For Honor universe without calling it For Honor. But yeah, that looks really cool. I'm really excited for that because I love ships. Ships are cool.
I guarantee you it was probably called For Honor. Some sort of For Honor name up until For Honor totally tanked.
Yeah. After initially having success, and then Ubisoft was like, God, man, we should make this bad. It feels wrong.
It wasn't even that. It was just the servers were just... the server, you had constant server crashes, and then they just didn't bother to try to update much, so...
And every update they did made the game's balance worse. So it bummed everyone out. Also, it had, like, this fierce community that was like, nah, if we stick with it, keep giving them feedback, it's going to get better. And then Ubisoft just, like, left them out in the cold. But
as they do. Actually, they don't do that often.
They didn't do it for Siege, which I think is what everyone was rightfully pissed off. They're like, well, how come you guys are so good over here?
And Call of Duty.
I'm talking about Ubisoft.
You said Activision.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like,
no, but this is Ubisoft.
I was like, maybe Activision helped produce it, and I just didn't know that.
Nah, I said that accidentally. They showed...
You may not have. I may have misheard it.
The Fractured But Whole, the South Park game.
That's all I need.
It looks funny. It's a turn-based game, so I won't really play it, but it was hilarious.
Yeah. The first one was really, really funny, but like I didn't care for like the game itself, which kind of sucked because it was really fun. But, I mean, it was
it was
fun
South
to be
Park,
in that world.
and it was like it's an authentic game. Like it's not a licensed game. Like Matt Stone and Trey Parker are actually like writing it and actually like involved in it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty authentic. They showed more Assassin's Creed Origins. Like they showed a pretty extended gameplay demo of it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if that guy if the main character manages to talk less, I won't have to get tired of his super awesome voice. Because he has a really, really cool voice, but he talks all the way through the demo, and it gets really annoying.
I didn't pay attention to how much he talks, but I know Ezio and them talk a pretty good bit.
Well, it's a good thing Ezio had such a cool voice.
Not when you're just like walking, but during missions, he'll talk a pretty good bit. I'm like, dude, we're trying to be quiet. I'm glad
that happens in the Origins demo. Like, there's two guys nearby, and in this bassy, booming voice, like, I can't remember his name, the new hero, but he says something, and I'm just like, whoosh, dude.
Where's my money, honey?
Shut up.
I can't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up.
It's another, like, cool name, like all of them have.
What was his name in 3?
That was Connor. But he had a much longer Native American name that I can't remember. Connor was.
You?
Oh.
Why can't you remember his name?
Because they all called him Connor.
Not me. I called him by his full name every time.
Yeah, what was it?
You know what? It was Connor Sakalakumuka.
Oh, yeah, good job. Anyway, before we get more and more racist, I'm going to move on to...
That's not racist. That was fluent Cherokee. Assassin's Creed Origins has an $800 collector's edition. Comes with a real-life mummy.
Boy, it better.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to find his name. Go ahead. I'll find his name.
Anyway, Starlink Battle for Atlas looks like the greatest game ever ruined by toys.
I like toys, but I also have consistent income, so makes a difference.
I'm fine with toys if they're not involved in video games. Like I think I'm so over the whole amiibo thing.
Like that's the perfect combination.
I think the game would be better if it didn't have any of that. If it was just if you get the whole game and you don't have to buy extra accessories, like because otherwise it's just an incomplete game where I have to buy a bunch of irrelevant plastic when all I really needed was a little piece of chip that's inside the piece of plastic.
Is his name Bayek?
Bayek?
Or Bayek?
Bayek? I don't remember. That doesn't sound right.
That's what it says.
All right. Well, that's not as cool as I thought. But I guess it's a name.
Still pretty cool.
But yeah, Starlink's art style and like atmosphere reminds me of like a Saturday morning like sci-fi space adventure cartoon, and it looks awesome, and it has space battles and like ground battles, and it all looks super freaking good, and it was the second game all E3 to be announced for the Switch. So the Switch gets something.
Well, see, I don't mind figure toys, but like I said, it's because I have disposable income and consistent income. Yeah. But I also really like toys and figures. Like I've got like 3 or 4 of the mini like the black edition of the Star Wars ships. Like Poe Damerons. But these, if I buy them, I can actually use them to play the game and like change them. I like how they fit on the controller. I think that's cool.
See, that just looked clunky to me.
While I get what you're saying about the...
Yeah, and I get your perspective. I'm just saying that's why it's immediately less appealing to me.
Yeah.
Because it's
like...
you
should be able to play it with or without the toys.
Maybe you can, but Skylanders, you can't do that. I don't
think you'll be able to.
I don't think they'll give that option because there is so much money to be made by not giving that option.
It also really depends on the price of each part, because it looks like you buy the weapons, the body, and I'm sure there's some other stuff.
Yeah, like you buy them in different pieces.
But if they're like $5 a piece, not bad. But if it gets to the part where it's like I've got to buy $10 for each different little weapon, and I'm sure there's weapons in the game that you can unlock, so you may be able to just buy a base figure, and then unlock the rest of the weapons within the game. Probably not the best ones, maybe. I'm sure, but if there's no PvP, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I don't think there is. It looked like a kind of like a Skylanders thing. But then we're gonna go to the last game at the Ubisoft conference, which was this E3's The Last Guardian moment, where it was like
Watch Dogs 3.
Oh, yeah. The one we've all been waiting for years, after all the rumors at last. But yeah, after a very swear-heavy trailer that had convinced Dallas that it was not Beyond Good and Evil 2, the logo for Beyond Good and Evil 2 comes in. I'm just like, or no, you said, talk about a hard R reboot.
Yeah, like, I mean, that monkey says, like, fuck and motherfucker,
like 12 times in one sentence.
Yeah, like before it even, like, gets to the, like, he, like, rips off one of the pig characters. I don't think it's the one from the first one. Well, this is a prequel, so it can't be. But yeah, and then like the monkey's like, maybe they just did like stop cussing. Maybe the world just decided to stop cussing. I don't know, but it is like full of like curse words and like violence, and I was like, this is insane. And I was like, this looks just like Beyond Good and Evil.
Like it looks like such a similar universe.
I was like, this is not Beyond Good and Evil. And then it got to who I thought was Jade, but I think it's Jade's mother.
Yeah, something like
that.
And
I was like,
she got
when
green
she stood
eyeliner.
up, I was like, oh my god. Well, she's got like the green eye. She's got like green eyes, and she's got like the short pixie hair, the black. And she's like the same build and same dark skin. And I was just like, this is not Beyond Good and Evil. I was like, there's no way. And then it just like faded in Beyond Good and Evil 2. And I was like, motherfucker, that is Beyond Good and Evil.
I saw the pig, and I was like, it's Beyond Good and Evil. Like, Ubisoft isn't going to show you a pig unless it's Beyond Good and Evil.
Well, see, that's what I thought, and then I was like, it's Ubisoft. So, yes, they very well would.
Oh, yeah, they very well would give you absolutely what you didn't ask for. But no, I thought that game was just never going to happen.
It looks sweet. Like, I like the attitude, I like the characters.
Yeah, I really
hope the gameplay is not changed too dramatically.
I think, honestly, it would do well if they didn't change it much, just because there's not a lot like it out right now.
Yeah.
And
it's really not original, though, and it's... I mean, it does have, like, some creative gameplay that you can't find in a lot of games, but for the most part, it's just a standard Jak and Daxter platformer. Just with a better world and a better story. I mean... Not necessarily than Jak and Daxter, but just in general.
Better than most, yeah. Better than the average example of that kind of genre. But anyway... Beyond Good and Evil 2 was definitely my game of that show, just because, God, it's Beyond Good and Evil 2. Even though they didn't show gameplay, just the fact that it's actually happening, just the fact that they've basically, like, presented it as, it's real, now it has to come out, unless they actually want to be murdered. But
Which they probably do.
If they actually cancel it, then they will die. Apparently, it's being directed by the guy that did Rayman Legends, and that's a good sign. That guy makes good games. In Ubisoft, he's the one that makes the good ones.
Yeah, he seemed very emotional, too, when he got on stage.
Yeah, he seemed pretty genuine, which is the last thing you expect to see at a Ubisoft conference, is anything genuine. They have their typical human cringe. Emotion.
Did they do Detroit Becoming Human, or is that somebody else?
No, that's Sony.
Oh, okay.
Which is next, but first I'm going to give Ubisoft I'll give them an 8 out of 10, just because they're the only game on here that, everything looked good. Even the Minions game, like, it looked, the Rabbids game looks good.
It pisses me off how good that, I'm not going to play it, because I can't stand that sort of, like, cringe.
Yeah, no, I'm like pretty over it. I'm tired of being willing to tolerate it, so I'm going to start being intolerant of it.
I've never tolerated it, and I've never thought the Minions were funny.
No, I never thought they were funny, but I was able to kind of get over it if there was maybe something there. Like, I actually think Despicable Me 1 is an okay movie.
Oh yeah.
But I'm past. giving them any more chances. But yeah,
fair enough.
Every single game they showed looked good, and that's coming from someone who has been so over Assassin's Creed. Like, now I'm interested. And
it's coming from someone who autistically screeched at the top of his lungs when I tried to bring up and defend Ubisoft like a week ago.
It's coming from the person who folds into a raging block of anger if anyone dares give the crew any praise.
Yeah, like I literally, like when we were talking about Ubisoft and you were freaking out about the logo, and like I was trying to do a little bit of defense. Yeah, you were like freaking, not even about, I was trying to defend like Siege or just anything. And I just messaged, you said something and I just messaged John and I was just like, I'm not going to try anymore.
No, I was like making a big deal out of nothing just because Ubisoft was just so dead to me before this conference. Everything actually looked good. Although, you have to remember, it's Ubisoft, so it's possible that all of that was pre-rendered lies and none of it will look that way once it comes out and it might all be broken at launch. But,
well, the only thing they showed gameplay for really was
Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
No, Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed, South Park, and Skulls and Bones, and Starlink all got gameplay. And Mario vs. Minions. I mean, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
I'd say the only thing that probably had a lot of pre-rendering in it was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, probably. Well, Far
Cry 5... I don't know,
5,
though, because they showed like a really big gameplay video later, after the conference.
Yeah.
So that may have been...
But Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4, someone like, if you look at the comparisons between their first showing and the final game, both of them had like dramatic cutbacks in graphics. So it'll probably happen again for Far Cry 5. But that being said, the gameplay actually looks good enough to where I wouldn't mind if the visuals weren't as nice. Yeah, and I really like the
settings, so...
Yeah, it's exciting. So
we've got Sony and Nintendo left.
Yeah, Sony's next. I think I said it, but I'm giving Ubisoft an 8 out of 10 just because all good games, although I don't trust Ubisoft. So
fair enough.
Next was PlayStation, and they had a very strange intro. They had like a couple guys playing some music on a sitar and had a little waterfall in the background. And I don't know if the screen was supposed to be on and like showing Assassin's Creed footage, but the screen was off, but then it looked like in the water that it was like they were doing a little pattern thing and these little waterfall things, and it looked like they were trying to make the Assassins logo, but it didn't look quite right. And we never saw anything come of that. Like, Sony will sometimes do this thing where they like do a live orchestra with a trailer, and I thought maybe that's what they're doing, and maybe the trailer just didn't play. But yeah, it was this weird intro where they were just playing some music to nothing.
I didn't see that. That's pretty funny.
Then
that's probably what happened.
Yeah. They showed the Uncharted expansion, which looks like Uncharted. It actually looks a lot more like the older games, which were way more action-oriented. Whereas Uncharted 4 was a lot more, like, it had, like, stealth, and it was more about exploration. But this one looked like...
Uncharted 4 still?
Yeah. Lost Legacy, which is the name of the expansion, stars Chloe from Uncharted 2. And 3, I guess. But it looks like 100% action, which I'm fine with, because I'm one of those people that played Uncharted 3 and was like, this is not at all like the first two games, but this is actually some pretty tight third-person shooter gameplay, so I'm okay with it. Then they showed Days Gone, which is a token zombie game.
See, that was what I was going to say earlier. I actually, when you said that, I was like, oh, whatever. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, I remember this kind of. But I kind of like the way you use the zombies as like a weapon. Like, you can set up and like destroy the enemy barricades to like the zombies will come in and do your dirty work. And I also like how they have more of the not DayZ, World War Z, how they kind of like overflow on top of each other.
It's a cool visual effect, but we saw it last year, and they didn't really show much that was new in this like pretty long gameplay demo. Also, it all seems really scripted. Like, it almost seems like those moments with controlling the zombies are like those specific moments that you do there. Like, there's not really anything dynamic about it, which is weird because it almost seems like the first time they showed it, it was this pseudo open world thing. But now I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm not terribly interested in it. I mean, it's not going to be the reason I get a PS4, so
Yeah. Moving on. They showed a trailer for Destiny 2, but they didn't show any gameplay, which is probably good because the gameplay they've shown looks horrible. It looks like a crappy version of Destiny 1. It looks like if you took Destiny 1 and added a thick bloom effect and added some sparks. And then said, can only go 30 FPS on the Xbox. PS4 Pro machine broke. Can't do any better. Everyone we're known for our smooth FPS gameplay. It's gonna run at half the speed of every other game on the market.
It's so weird that it's doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't care about Destiny 2.
Yeah.
What's next?
Moving on. Detroit Become Human.
Didn't watch enough about it.
Took a hard left turn after what they showed last year. I don't know if they showed it last year. It was either last year or the year before. But they showed it, and it almost looked like it was going to be this kind of detective thing, where you're like this robot detective who's putting these things together with like his, I'm not saying superhuman because he's not human, but like, robotic deductive skills. Like
I didn't ask for this.
He's like scanning and analyzing the room and kind of figuring out how to deal with like a hostage situation. That actually looked interesting. And I was like, that looks different from all of David Cage's other games, which David Cage did, Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. Both games that I don't care for at all.
Like that?
Yeah. It's that. Well, we know that now because this new trailer, it was like, oh, it's QuickTime events. That's all it is.
It's so weird they decided to put it in Detroit because that's where Deus Ex happens.
Yeah.
And it looks very much like Deus Ex.
Yeah, they're doing the same like cybernetic rights thing. I don't know. David Cage is a master of being unoriginal and terrible at everything he does. So,
fair enough.
Moving on. God of War, the worst game ever made. Moving on. Horizon Zero Dawn, the expansion, which Horizon Zero Dawn is supposed to be amazing, but that expansion, it's like, here's some snow.
Oh, yeah,
robots. The dinosaurs, they got snow on them. It's a cool visual effect, so that's probably enough. That'll justify it.
That's good enough for me, yeah.
MVC Infinite, really...
Moving on. I'm just playing.
Really stilted story trailer. It looks like they're trying to be Injustice, but they don't have the talent for cutscenes in that specific studio to pull it off.
And Thanos is a good guy, or not a good guy, probably. He's not a villain.
He's against Ultron Sigma.
That's kind of dumb. He should just join them and be Thanos.
Yeah,
Ultron Sigma.
Just fuse again. Just fuse all the villains.
Thanosma.
Yeah. MVC's story mode looks kind of weird. I don't know if you noticed, Chun-Li's face, it looks very disturbing in all of those cutscenes. She has a very terrifying, spooky monster goblin face, and
she's the Captain Marvel of Street Fighter.
Except Captain Marvel looks fine.
She didn't originally. Oh. In the very first things they showed in Injustice 2,
You mean MVC?
No.
I said Captain Marvel. She's not in Injustice.
Not Captain Marvel, Supergirl.
Oh, okay.
And in Injustice 2, sorry, I was thinking Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
All their faces looked like horrible.
They looked really bad. They turned it around near the end, though.
Well, I think it's because Mass Effect Andromeda got shit on hard, and
so they're like,
just like,
man, we gotta fix
this. Stop everything you're doing. Fix these faces.
That's like you were driving down the same road, like with your friend in front of you. They're driving in front of you, and they like hit a bump, and the car flips, and you're just like, slam on the brakes. We're not doing that, guys. We're backing up.
Go around the hideous face bump.
But yeah, the worst part about this trailer, which was pretty bad, but it confirms the really underwhelming roster that was leaked. Like, everyone was the same, with 2 new additions being Zero on Capcom, which, once again, is just a Marvel 3 character with no changes made, and Black Panther, which Black Panther is good because if we're not going to have X-Men, then maybe Black Panther can kind of be a Wolverine clone, so that I actually have someone I'm good with in the game.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'd rather Black Panther be his own thing.
But I could see him
being we need to talk about that after the end of our E3, because the Black Panther teaser trailer released.
Oh, yeah. But I could see Black Panther being like a really close, fast brawler.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Rushdown guy. Okay. They showed a Shadow of the Colossus remake. which
I haven't played the first one.
well, it's a really good game. It's a really good game. And,
Moving on. No,
and it always looked really good too. Like the PS2 version, I think is aged amazingly. You see, I used to think that until I saw the remake, and I'm like, whoa, we can do this.
Well, didn't they remake them already?
They did ports basically.
Oh, okay.
To the PS3.
I thought they were HD. Well, I guess they are.
They were ports that were in 1080p. It was basically the same game though, like same texture assets and stuff. Yeah,
also,
it was.
I'm surprised
Eco,
they didn't include that again.
Well, I think Eco isn't a game that really. Eco was pretty, but its gameplay and like atmosphere and stuff isn't as integral to like what you're doing. Shadow of the Colossus, like a lot of what makes that game feel good is the atmosphere and like the visuals and stuff. Like if Shadow of the Colossus had been ugly, no one would have remembered it. But it was like beautiful when it first came out, and it aged really well. And now the remake is like, it didn't age well at all. This is what it could look like now, and it looks incredible. And it's made by Blue Point, the guys that did the Uncharted trilogy remakes, which looked pretty amazing.
I wish it was on the Xbox X.
Yeah. They made the 360 port of Titanfall 1, which should not have been as excellent as it was. So they're really good at making this thing go on this thing and be good at it.
They're just good copiers. That's all they are.
Yeah. Hey, good cover bands.
I mean, yeah, that's perfect. They're the cover band.
I rely on cover bands to turn pop music into metal remixes so that I don't feel bad for enjoying them so much. They showed the Spider-Man game, speaking of superheroes.
Yeah. Dude, I love his suit. His new suit is like kick-ass.
It's like the best suit design. I
think it's probably one of the best. If it's not better than McFarlane's design in the 90s.
McFarlane's is like the most iconic. This won't be iconic, but it does look really cool.
Yeah. And the gameplay looks sweet. It's kind of like not a smoother Arkham, but it looks
like a limber young Arkham.
Yeah.
Which is
like
perfect
how
for Spider-Man.
He actually because Spider-Man, a lot of people don't know this, but his like muscular structure is like completely different. So he's like completely like way more flexible than a human being like should be. He's almost like Mr. Fantastic in the fact that like his flexibility. So I like when he's like doing his little spins and kicks. His you can see his limbs like bend and move.
Yeah, and that's because Insomniac is making the game, and Insomniac is really good at animating characters. Like
it looks really good, though.
They did Ratchet and Clank, and they did Sunset Overdrive, and a lot of this kind of looked like Sunset Overdrive, like when he's chasing the helicopter, like the wall rides and stuff, gave me a Sunset Overdrive feel, which for me is a good thing, because I really liked Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, this will definitely be the most mechanically sound.
Yeah.
Spider-Man game. I'm worried about the story because I don't really care about... I don't know, I guess I don't know where they're going with it.
It's kind of like that Spider-Man versus like New York's mob, almost. He hasn't faced any supervillains yet.
Demon? Who was it he was fighting? I can't remember.
It was like a gang.
The Demon something.
The thing is, they didn't show Spider-Man fighting, Venom or Rhino or
good.
Lizard.
That's good.
Like they didn't show him fighting a typical. Here's like a supervillain type deal.
He does mention Kingpin.
Yeah, he talks to Fisk. Yeah, Fisk is a supervillain.
Oh yeah.
So he's in there
in the comics, definitely. He not so much in the show, but yeah.
This seems like kind of an in between for like the movie look, because they've got his like shutter eyes from the movie.
Yeah. Well, his eyes do that in the comics. It's just you don't.
That's because it's animated. I'm saying like the difference is they're hitting this. They're going between cartoony and live action, which I think looks great. It's working. From what I can tell, really it's cool. Working.
I'll have to get a PS4. Oh, yeah. Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3
was incredible, dude.
It wasn't shown at a conference though.
Was it not?
Nah, it's getting shown a lot though. It's coming.
It's also on the bone.
Yeah, it's coming to the bone.
Which is probably what I'll get it on. But it looks incredible. Like that, the combat they showed looks like insane.
Yeah, it looks like it's crazy. Like Square Enix games went from I'm not gonna even bother caring because everything was always like turn based or like slow and plotting, to Final Fantasy VII Remake is gonna be basically Devil May Cry with teammates, and now Kingdom Hearts 3 like actually looks. It doesn't just look intense; like it looks tactical while being intense. So
yeah, I was pretty impressed by it.
Maybe I should play any Kingdom Hearts game.
They're kind of hard to get back in. If you're gonna play them, get the HD ones on PS3.
I'll probably do that.
Makes more sense because.
Yeah. Next is they showed Call of Duty on the PlayStation stage. They showed the multiplayer, and I had no idea it was the multiplayer. I thought it was the campaign.
Oh yeah.
Because apparently, not only is there like a whole lot of talking in the matches, kind of like in Black Ops 3, but there is a lot of stage destruction.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's like free stage destruction like Battlefield, even though this looks like it's kind of going to be the most Battlefield of all the Call of Duty games. There is destruction. In some fashion, there's going to be destruction. Also, they showed a trench gun with Dragon's Breath incendiary rounds. I didn't catch that until I went back through it because I thought maybe something blew up when he shot it, but no, he was firing Dragon's Breath rounds out of a World War II shotgun. And there's going to be female soldiers on any side. So
yeah, there were French resistant fighters that were girls. So
yeah, I guess yeah, but
I mean I don't care.
My
if
point
it's
is
multiplayer. Who cares? So
yeah, my point is if you're going for historical accuracy, then do historical accuracy. If you're not doing historical accuracy, then do a dream scenario and let us play as more than just the US and the Germans. Also, did you notice there are no Nazi symbols in that game? They got rid of all the swastikas.
I didn't notice yet, but I'm sure they're in there somewhere.
They're
probably
they actually said
probably
they're
waiting
just,
to.
They said they're just using the Iron Cross for the Germans.
They're not using any swastikas?
There's no swastikas. They're gone.
That's
Because
stupid.
I guess what you should do to protect people is to make sure they forget who the bad guys were.
Well, technically, there's no swastikas in Wolfenstein either. It's all the new color. It's a new.
Yeah. It was the
Fourth
New
Reich.
Order. Yeah.
Oh, what? Yeah, okay, then I can't remember if they called the Fourth Reich or not.
But in the beginning, they still had swastikas. And they had, he still calls them Nazis. I'm sure they're still going to call them Nazis in this one. I think maybe it's just because no one wants to feel like they're fighting for the Nazis. Even though that never bothered us in Call of Duties 1 through 3 and then in World at War. Like,
It's a different world.
at
Society
war.
now.
A different world.
Nice.
War 2.
Nice. I'd be really surprised if swastikas don't show up at all in the campaign.
Yeah, that would just seem wrong.
I get it in multiplayer, like fine, whatever. But
Yeah.
if they didn't show up in the campaign at all, and it's supposed to be like super, realistic or whatever,
and faithful.
realistic, yeah.
Yeah.
I put realistic in quotation marks,
Yeah.
air quotations.
Okay,
Next.
so there. I'm trying to remember, see if I forgot something before going to what my game of the conference was, which was Monster Hunter World,
All right.
which I never saw coming. Like, here's the thing: for people who don't know this, Nintendo had an exclusivity thing with Capcom for the Monster Hunter series, and as far as everyone knew, that hadn't disappeared. And they came out with a trailer before E3 for Monster Hunter Double Cross on the Nintendo Switch. They didn't say it was coming to the US, which normally they don't. Like maybe half the games will get localized, but it was going to be on the Switch, and it's in Japan, and it has crossplay with the 3DS version. So everyone was like, yeah, okay, predictable. That's what we thought was going to happen. Then Sony was like, the next game we're going to show has a very dedicated fan base, and whatever, and they're very faithful worldwide. And I was like, okay, what's this going to be? And then
I thought it was going to be Street Fighter.
Oh, well, they could have maybe shown something new for Street Fighter. That would have been cool. But Street Fighter is also successful worldwide. This guy's saying,
true.
here's this cult following this worldwide. And the first thing I see is a full HD greatsword. And I was getting lightheaded. I felt the blood leaving my head. I was getting tunnel vision. I was like, oh, is that a Rathian and full 1080p? And it's on a Sony console. And then I found out it's also coming to PC and Xbox One, not to the Switch, which tells me that either Capcom was willing to break the contract and take the loss, or maybe Sony was able to give them enough money to convince them. It's like, hey, you'll make more money to get out of this contract, or maybe the contract just ended. But that at that moment, I had no reason to ever buy a Switch, because when Double Cross was coming to the Switch in Japan, I was like, if that gets localized, I'm getting the Switch, because I'm a huge fan of Monster Hunter, even though it seems like I shouldn't. Every time I'm recommending it to people, they're like, isn't that all that stuff you hate? And I'm like, well, I guess not. But the stuff they were showing almost looked a little hand-holdy. I have to comment on that. But once they released more details... Huh?
I didn't see any gameplay about it.
The trailer was gameplay. But... yeah, the graphics do look that good.
Oh, okay.
The game looks incredible. In the trailer, they just show one guy, so I was thinking, is this like a weird spin-off where it's just a single-player thing? Because these games are always like marketed as being multiplayer things. But then they said, yeah, it's still a 4-player co-op thing. But for context, and if you don't know, in Monster Hunter, the areas you go to are broken up into numbered arenas that you enter to like find the monster, and they have like, you know, like some of them are a different size, some of them have things to climb up on. But the thing you're supposed to try to do is like, some monsters tend to stay in, you know, maybe swampy areas or like rocky areas, and you kind of maybe want to get them into a certain area so you have some sort of advantage. But most importantly, it's so you can get away from a monster. So like you go into a new arena, it loads you get a loading screen, and then you're in a new place and the monster's still in the other area. So now you can like rebuff and heal and stuff like that. This game doesn't have that. All of it's completely seamless. There's no loading screens. It's like one big open world continent that's like a persistent ecosystem, which is amazing just to think about. But the tracking elements they were showing is because a whole lot of stuff from the old games is being thrown out and has to be replaced, because there's now that fundamental difference in how everything is connected. And the camouflage thing, which I thought was weird. I was like, Monster Hunter has stealth now? But it made sense, because now you can't run to a different area to fix yourself up. It's like, okay, I gotta hide, I'm almost dead, and I'm not gonna outrun this thing, so here's the option to hide from it, so, you know, it walks away and loses you. It looks amazing. I'm so excited for that, and I'm glad it's coming to the Xbox One. And it was funny, as soon as it was shown, it was like, I don't have a reason to get a Switch, I'm gonna get a PS4 next. And then it was like, coming to Xbox One, I'm like, I ain't buying nothing, I'm just buying this game. But yeah, Sony's conference was a little hit or miss. There were some big hits, there were some low lows, there was some really cringy stuff that happened at the Sony conference.
It's Sony, so
like they had one guy. It wasn't a whole bunch of suits. It was one suit that came out a few times and very redundantly, repeatedly said, oh, gosh, man, guys, PlayStation's so good. And he was like skipping over his words a lot and like repeating some things. So it was like, this is just filler. Just go on to the next trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably give Sony probably a 7 out of 10, just because probably 7 points from Monster Hunter World. Actually, I'll say 6 points for Monster Hunter World, and one big ol' solid, real confident point for Spider-Man. And then,
I agree. Sorry, I was yawning.
Then again, they did mention Skyrim, so I might take that down to a 6. Yeah, we're going to make that a 6, because once again, we felt the need to talk about Skyrim again.
Alright, let's blow through Nintendo real quick.
Yeah, we'll do Nintendo fast, because they didn't show much, even though most of it was new.
Yeah, it did like 10 minutes. It was just like...
It was really... It was the only conference that was less than like a half hour. I was like... I thought it was weird that Bethesda's was a half hour. I was like, that's really short. Nintendo's like, we gotta be in and out. They showed Rocket League.
Yeah, like I tuned in while I was at work and was like, oh, sweet. It's like 3:12. I'll get to watch all of it. And then it was like over. And I was like...
Yeah.
Oh. I guess I won't.
Anyway, yeah, they started with Rocket League, which is the only third-party game they show.
And it's a port, and it's probably going to be a shit port, too. So, like,
it's a port, and a car gets a Mario hat. But it will have cross-play with the Xbox One and with PC. So, once again, Sony's just like, all right, well, I guess we'll just hang out with PC and not have any friends. Then they showed Booty Shorts Chronicles 2, otherwise known as Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Only for some reason, they changed the game's art style from everyone's wearing a super stylish like jacket and like a sweater and pants with a bunch of belts on it to where now everyone is half naked, male or female. They all look like bright-eyed 17-year-olds in booty shorts, and it looks very weird. A whole lot of people are still excited for it. It looks like an okay game, but it went from being this kind of big, you got a party and stuff, and you're going to go explore these unknown lands, to here's a boy and a girl with this romantic subplot running in some big open areas and fighting a guy who wears a lot of makeup. It's weird.
I'm okay with it.
I'm not against it, I guess, but it went from being It went from being one of the cooler, like Final Fantasy has Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy VII, which is kind of on the darker, edgier look, which is what the first two Xenoblade Chronicles were, to now it looks like Final Fantasy 13, where everyone's a supermodel. I don't know. It looks alright, I guess. It's running on the same engine that Breath of the Wild was, and it shows because everything looks really washed out and foggy. But big, wide open spaces, I guess. I guess that's what that engine is good for. But that was an exclusive. Yeah, the rest of these are all exclusives. Fire Emblem Warriors, which is actually also coming to the 3DS. They don't bring that up. But they also don't show gameplay. They show a really dull, boring, list of clips of, hey, look at this Fire Emblem character. We're not going to show you how they play. That's stupid. And it's coming out this year, so that's weird that they're not really showing anything for it. They showed a new Kirby, which is literally just called Kirby right now. It's probably not going to stay, but it's got 4-player co-op, which all of the best Kirbys have co-op, so that's a good sign.
Well, I just started playing Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, I think is what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
On emulator. It's pretty good. Don't know what I'm doing. Pretty good.
Yeah. It looks alright. It looks like a Kirby game. I don't think I really noticed any new mechanic, except I think he can combine powers like he could in the Crystal Shards, which is cool. I'm glad that's coming back. So it's combining powers along with co-op. So I guess that's new. That's a new thingy. Also, I think this is the first new Kirby game since the Wii, so Kirby's coming back. They showed a new Yoshi game, and they just called it Yoshi, even though it's basically Woolly World 2. Like, same art style, same gameplay. Like, it's...
Yoshi 1, Yoshi 2. Everything is 1.
It's Woolly World 2, only I think there's a couple places where they show, like, 3D movement for a boss fight. But, once again, it's a gorgeous game, because they're dedicated to, like, this yarn-based art style, and... They're really good at yarn textures. They're good at yarn textures. The dreaded yarn texture pack coming to every video game you own.
Everything's made of yarn. I like how he infiltrated the podcast without actually infiltrating the podcast.
He did this on purpose. This is how he does stuff.
This is Jan's world. We're just living in it.
But yeah, okay. This was kind of a theme going all throughout Nintendo's conference, was when they were basically showing serious works in progress or just giving us the name of something. Because Kirby and Yoshi, both works in progress, not final title, or like working titles at least. Then they said, hi, this is Game Freak. We make the Pokemon games. We're going to make an RPG for the Switch. Bye. Like, they didn't even give us a logo for that one. They just said, that'll happen eventually. We're working on it.
I wonder if it's a Pokemon.
What?
I wonder if it's a Pokemon game.
They said it was.
Oh, you just said they were working on an RPG.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they're making a core Pokemon RPG.
Well, that'd be pretty sweet.
And I guess it's not Sun or Moon, because it's going to be the next one.
It's Star.
So people are going to be waiting for longer than they wanted to, but they did say it's happening. Nintendo showed more of Mario and Rabbids. I think they like actually showed like more gameplay and stuff. I think they also showed amiibos. God.
Oh, those amiibos look sweet though for the Zelda pack. Oh no, you're talking for.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Mario.
Kank Battle.
They showed a DLC for Breath of the Wild, and the amiibos look fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Especially the Goron.
The Goron.
Yeah, I was trying to remember his name.
Oh, dude, I don't know their names because I still haven't played Breath of the Wild.
They're all new, yeah, but it looks sweet. Like it's a pretty sweet looking amiibo.
The Gerudo chick, she looks really good. Just because she just looks really good, but they teased the second pack, and I don't think it stars Link.
That was the second pack. Was the heroes? The first pack was.
The first pack is like the Trial of the Sword.
Songs? Trial of the,
Yeah, but the second
map.
pack, it looks like you're going to play as, I think, all of the champions, including maybe Zelda, because they show her in the middle. And that would be like, yeah, all right, I'd pay $20 for that. Like, I've been down on Nintendo about the way they're doing the DLC for a while, but if in the end you're getting to play as, I think it's a total of 5 new characters in that one game for a new story expansion. It's like, that's good content, especially if you're finally playing as Zelda.
Agreed.
They showed Super Mario Odyssey, which...
Oh, that looks fucking sweet.
It does look good, but it still looks weird, but I think that's good.
I think it only looks weird when the humans are involved, like the actual normal to scale.
Yeah.
Or not to scale, but
in
humans,
New Donk City, which is like real life, but they put Mario in it. That's when it looks weird, but...
That's the weirdest. You can't possess the humans, I saw that.
Yeah.
The main gimmick for that game is like your hat can possess like dinosaurs or like it was like almost anything, like the bullet bills, like
even
the Koopas,
enemies.
And you used it to like move to different places on the map, or like on the level. So like it's a way to get past puzzles. So I think it looks fucking awesome. Yeah. I'll probably get a Switch when it comes out just to play it.
Yeah, they when they announced that game, they said holiday 2017. Then they said like October 10th. Like they moved up the release date.
I lied. I'm not gonna get a Switch when that game comes out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get a Xbox.
But that was the thing. There were a lot of people that were predicting Super Mario Odyssey gets delayed, and it actually came forward. Nintendo, the absolute madmen.
That's probably gonna suck then. They're probably just like, we'll show you. We'll release this broken game, but at least it got out early. Booyah! In your face.
I think
Miyamoto out.
The only
mic drop.
The only 3D Mario platformer that I think has actually just been really disappointing was 3D World. But this one looks like the opposite of 3D World.
The Wii U?
Yeah, it was the Wii U version. It was just devoid of personality, whereas this one looks almost like it has too much personality for me to even swallow at once. Like, there's a lot going on, and that can only be better than 3D World, so...
Yeah.
It looks pretty great.
I think they did fine because they kind of did. Apparently, in Donkey's video, he showed something that's like it shows like Super Mario Brothers Wii, and then Wii U, and then what are the other ones? 3D Land.
Oh! You're talking about there's a diagram that they kind of say these games are kind of on this side, where it's like
they threw Odyssey down with Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, which are like the two best.
I disagree. My favorite games.
Played Mario Galaxy.
My favorite games were Galaxy and Galaxy 2, but those games were also a lot more linear, and their hub world was hardly even that. It was more like a 3D menu that you could walk around in.
Yeah, I'm still playing the first one.
Yeah, this one is definitely more about the kind of, there's an overworld, and this is like a universe that you live in while also like doing platforming and going to levels and stuff. Anyway, it looks great, predictably, because it's a mainline Mario game. This wasn't even the last thing they showed. They showed this pretty early, but this.
Oh wait! Sorry, before you get off.
Okay.
Apparently, white people are complaining that Mario is wearing a sombrero and like doing the Mexican level, and they're getting mad on behalf of Mexicans, saying that it's racist. And then every Mexican is just not every Mexican, but most Mexican people are like responding back on Twitter and being like, "No, we fucking love it. Like, we love when our culture is like shown off places."
Yeah, dude.
Apparently it was. I was just thought that was funny. I was like, why? Why do white people care so much about things? I guess because we don't have anything to actually get mad about.
I think that's what it is. No,
because we just have it pretty good, so we just got to get mad for other people.
We feel guilty if we don't get mad about things, but we need to stop preemptively getting mad about things.
We need to get mad after the other people get. Be like, oh, you're mad about that? Me too. You're also, not mad? I'm fine.
That level looks sweet.
Yeah,
so,
it did.
Yeah.
So white people can all go
suck
die.
It, Whitey.
I'm calling for white genocide right now.
Dallas, we need to stop. We need to stop preemptively getting mad for people.
I'm killing two birds with one stone. Bring it.
I am both birds. But anyway, this see, here's the thing. Nintendo conference ends, and then the best game of E3 is shown. Well, not the best game, but their best game.
Watch Dogs 3.
No, their best game is... I just realized you brought up Watch Dogs again. Is that a thing now? This is going to be Watch Dogs 3.
It's for me, I guess. I'm going to petition for a Watch Dogs 3 until I get it. So I'll probably get it regardless. I'll probably don't have to do much petitioning.
Yeah. But, they actually... They did their own Beyond Good and Evil 2, where they had Metroid Prime 4 confirmed. And once again, they only showed a logo, and they played some music from Metroid Prime 1. But just the fact that it's happening, and they said it's coming to the Switch, it's like, well, now I know for a fact that I will eventually be buying a Switch. Because
yeah, I'll probably wait till Prime 4 comes out. That'll give me time to beat Primes 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
The Metroid Prime trilogy is like easily my favorite video game trilogy, and Metroid Prime 1 is it's up there in my top 3. That's for sure. That game's incredible. And
I like it so far.
The sequels are good too. It's just the sequels never had that initial like effect on me, just because it expands on it. But
I really like it, but I still wish I could use a GameCube controller. That problem is probably going to be fixed come
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, so I've just got to play through 3 games of me getting frustrated at the controls.
The thing is, you'll definitely be used to it by the time you're in Metroid Prime 2 or even halfway through Metroid Prime 1.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. But what I thought was funny, and I mean, this is just me making up stories in my head so that I get happier about things, because apparently I need that. But the Switch is, the convergence of handheld and home console, or at least that's what it's supposed to be. The jury's out on how successful it is, but Metroid Prime 4 has long been rumored as like the thing that connects the DS game, Metroid Prime Hunters, to the main trilogy, because there's a teaser at the end of Metroid Prime 3 for a character that was in Hunters, and they'd never referenced each other previously, but then it's like, oh, Psylux? Why is Psylux from this game following Samus at the end of that one? And then we never got an answer because there was never a Prime 4. But now...
You don't need an answer.
We've got the handheld Prime combining with the home console Prime on the console that combines those two. So that's just that Nintendo magic right there. Whether it's an accident or they planned this ahead of time, either way, they're madmen.
They probably didn't.
If they did or they didn't, they're crazy either way.
They also announced a remake of
Yep
2. Well,
after the conference, they like, do their falling action thing where they're like, oh, we're gonna demo some games here on the E3 floor, because it was like open to the public at that point. Yeah. And at that point, it's, this is when every conference is over, and we're just gonna, we're gonna see some more gameplay and see some interviews with people. And that's what it was. It was an interview with It was an interview with the guys who made, with Mercury Steam, the guys that made Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and the ones that are making Raiders of the Lost Planet, which also isn't coming to the Switch, like most things. But they were interviewing them, and I was like, oh, what's all this about? And then they freaking show Metroid Prime art style Samus in Metroid 2 for the 3DS. And I was like, how did you guys not at least lead or end with that in the conference? Because that would have then it would have been official that Nintendo had the best conference. But I think as it stands, they probably have the second best conference, in my opinion. Only because that came after the conference had ended.
Yeah, it seems like they had a lot that they should have just put in the conference. I don't know. I don't understand Nintendo. I refuse to try.
The thing is, like, the game looks almost complete, and it's very polished, and it looks great. They showed a ton of gameplay, and it looks awesome. And it's not just a remake. Like, they're adding a ton of new mechanics and, like, new abilities that she's never had before that look really cool. Like, she's got a lot more dodging and mobility options. She has a melee attack now that's a melee counter. And there's, like, certain attacks that you can block with it and, like, deflect. That's a totally, like, new dimension to Metroid combat.
What is it called, the new one?
It's called Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. But it's, like, it's the same location, and it's, like, the same areas, but they all look completely different, and they look modernized, and it has a Prime-esque art style, which, in my opinion, is by far the best art style they've had, because it's this kind of gritty, hard sci-fi.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand about when they show gameplay videos for the 3DS is they always include the 3DS.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I guess maybe it's to excuse the inherently bad resolution, so they make it smaller. Like, they add a border to make it a little smaller so it looks better, because those games do look better on smaller screens, but I don't know.
The game looks so cool.
Yeah. I don't know why a game that people have been wanting, a new 2D Metroid, which people have wanted just as much as they've wanted the next Prime. People have just wanted a Metroid game. That game should have been in the conference with gameplay, because Prime 4 doesn't even have gameplay. Pokemon doesn't have gameplay. The Zelda Pack 2 doesn't have gameplay. Like, Fire Emblem Warriors, no gameplay. They should have taken out any of those of the main conference and put in Metroid Samus Returns, because they could have shown them all kinds of stuff. Like, the game looks done. At this point, it looks like, they're just waiting for the right release date.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been so much better. Like, it was right there in front of them. Also, surprisingly, nothing about Smash Brothers. I could have sworn they were going to announce a port or do what they did with Pokemon and say, it's coming. We're going to make it eventually. But
I'm surprised they didn't do... I would be surprised if Samus Returns isn't also on the Switch, at least in the Virtual Console. In some way.
Well, the Switch doesn't even have a Virtual Console yet. Oh, yeah. We also didn't get any details about the Virtual Console or how their online system is going to work. They've given us really basic details about that, but they haven't gone in depth yet. A lot of people thought they were going to go in depth, but guess not.
Nah, who cares?
They made really weird decisions on what to include, but the fact that it still came out pretty good, I guess, considering how short it was,
yeah,
I guess that's a good sign. They're still being Nintendo, that's for sure. Got some 2D side scrollers, got some Zelda, finally got some Metroid again. The good thing about this is a good sign about Metroid, because after making the single worst Metroid game, Federation Force, which is somehow worse than Other M, what everyone expected Nintendo to take from that is, no one wants to play Metroid. But they actually, in some miracle, got literally everything right and gave us the new Prime and a new 2D game. So
2 Metroid games.
Yeah, they're like,
Not
well, what
one.
if they want 2 proper Metroid games that they've all been asking for? I'm surprised someone didn't get shot, like, on site at Nintendo for even suggesting something that coherent.
They probably did. They were probably shot and just like,
that's probably a good idea.
Actually, he's dead. Yeah, go bury him with the rest.
But that gives me hope that maybe there will be another good Star Fox game before I die. because
He said.
Yeah, he said forgetting every disappointment. But yeah, Star Fox Zero is a worse Star Fox game than Other M and Federation Force are bad Metroid games. Like, at least those two were basically playable. Star Fox Zero, huh?
Sorry, no, I was about to reference one of our own Let's Plays in Tony Hawk when you were like, Rainbow Six is one of the worst skateboarding games of all time.
You guys can only the Tony Hawk playthrough is only accessible through the subscriber program on VidMe. As an exclusive, you can go hear that joke that we just told. You can hear it again if you pay $1 on VidMe. You get to hear that joke again.
Not even the best joke. Not even the best joke. Plenty of good jokes. I guess that's a good place to end it because we'll go ahead and rate Nintendo because I've got to go to bed because I have work in the morning.
If Nintendo had included Samus Returns, it would have been better. But as it stands, I'll give them a 7. But I'll dock a point because they mentioned Skyrim. So 6 out of 10.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then they mentioned Skyrim with Nintendo
with Breath of the Wild garb. Yeah.
So a 5.
I'll say a 5 because of how stupid that is. I don't care when people are like, oh, it's harmless cosmetics. Why do you have to hate everything? I'm like, because it's dumb. I can hate something if it's dumb.
I really don't mind it, but
I don't mind it, but I'm going to take points off. Just because I'm tired of Skyrim and I'm just tired, man. I'm tired of it.
It's been 6 long years.
6 long years of guys. Remember Skyrim?
It wasn't even that
It's
original.
not even the best Elder Scrolls game.
No.
If you ask people who like Skyrim, they're like, nah, it's like maybe 3rd or 2nd best if I'm being generous.
Most people say Morrowind, but I think most people haven't gone back and played Morrowind. I think it's Oblivion, but I also haven't gone back and played Morrowind. So
I think
Oblivion.
I think what a lot of people figure out is that they're like, I shouldn't think too hard about this because I'm going to start figuring out that I don't like any of these games.
Oh yeah, I'm not replaying anything from my childhood.
Apparently, Bethesda's betting on everyone replaying Skyrim for the billionth time. But
you know what does hold up? Tony Hawk's
Pro Skater 4.
You can view that. I don't know why we're plugging this.
No idea.
A month and a half after we did it. But
yeah. It was fun. It was a good time.
It's perfect advertisement. It was. Okay, we're about at the 2-hour mark, so you may want to cut some of the stuff out.
Yeah. I'm probably going to trim it up, but
it's a long-ass podcast.
In my opinion,
podcast.
In a move that surprises everyone, I'm probably going to say Ubisoft had the best conference. I'll say Microsoft had the 2nd best, and Nintendo had 3rd best.
I'll say Microsoft had the 1st best just because we got an actual piece of hardware.
Oh, yeah.
Got a ton of new games, even if they weren't super games. And the games that were really good from Ubisoft or from EA, they're all on the Xbox One.
Yeah, and that's true.
So, in my opinion.
I think what blows my mind is how people
Quantum
are like
mechanics.
Oh, wow, yeah, probably. But people are saying PlayStation is the only one with the good exclusives, and from what I'm looking at, the only exclusives from the PlayStation that looked good that they showed were Spider-Man and the Shadow of the Colossus remake. Because the other ones being God of War, the worst walking simulator made by humans, Detroit Become Human, which is going to be another David Cage nightmare, and Days Gone, which looks incredibly generic.
Maybe they're speaking. I mean, if you're speaking not just E3, if you're speaking in general, then yeah, PS4 has a lot better exclusives than Xbox One at the moment. More recent, better exclusives, I should say. Oh, they introduced, they announced God, Knack 2.
Yeah, we said that earlier, or did we?
Yeah, but it was in the first run through.
That's true. Yeah, Knack 2.
So
the most unsolicited sequel of all time.
I liked the first one. Donkey liked the first one, and that's pretty much the only validation I need. Okay, we can go ahead and cut since I think we're good.
All right.
We'll do the outro.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, listening to Dude Wrong podcast or E3 exclusive special.
E3 2017. Monster Hunter, a Metroid, Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Are you Italian?
How was that Italian?
Because you kept adding like an A between your words.
That's me going,
Oh, it would sound more like an A. Damn it, there's a
like
game on the PS4. I'm going to think of it. I'm going to add it into the comments.
But, yeah.
Oh, Neo and Nier Automata.
Oh, yeah.
They've had way more recent exclusives that were pretty great. And Xbox,
Nier Automata looks really good.
Gears 4, which was fantastic and amazing, but that was like a while ago.
It was 1.
And since then, it's been a while since we've gotten anything.
And it's been a while. All right, that's probably a good place to stop it.
All right, Stain. Ending on a Stain joke.
I hope you guys have a good time. Don't buy video games. They're terrible. God, they're so expensive, and they're all bad.
Yep, just don't play video games. I think that was the whole message of this whole podcast. So if you missed it, then that's on you, and you're an idiot. Also, white genocide.
Guys, Ubisoft did good. It's all bad.
The end is nigh.
All right,
Bill Nye.
I'm stopping it there.